UMass Basketball Travis Ford Show. Sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to the UMass Basketball Show. Scott Coen, Travis Ford in for another week. And, Coach, we're here to talk about one game and one game only, but a nice win over Marist last night at Mohegan Sun.
It was a great win for our basketball team. You know, coming off a week where another week where we didn't have any games, we had an opportunity to get back and kind of work on the basics of defense. Went back to the fundamentals of defense because that's something that's obviously been lacking from our team. Especially in the last game against IUPUI a week ago. So it gave us a chance to really get back down to making our guys focus on something that we had really been lacking in.
So, we talked about the schedule a little bit last year and the week in between. So what about that? Has this been tough on you guys, staying sharp, that kind of thing?
Yeah, with our basketball team, the breaks aren't bad. We've had a few too many, I think. We need to be back on the court a little bit more. We had such a early start where we played 5 games in about 8 days. That's when we got all of our games in.
Yep.
And it gave us a little bit of time after that to really go back and analyze those 5 games during that break during Thanksgiving. But this last break, I thought, probably affected us a little bit, especially in the first half against Marist, where our offense wasn't very sharp at all. We weren't making shots that we normally make. But with a young basketball team like we have, it's not always a bad thing to have a few days to work on some things.
Well, and now you're going to jump right into the fire because we'll talk more about BC later in the show and I'll look ahead. But you have Boston College on the road coming up on Wednesday. And, boy, that's as big a test as you're going to face all year.
No, obviously, Boston College is coached by, Al Skinner, who we have a lot of respect for, a UMass alumnus. They've had an incredible amount of tradition in the past for a long time, but what he's done at Boston College has just been amazing. They're a team that's led a little bit different type team, Boston College is, than what Al's had in the past 3 or 4 years, where he's usually been a big, strong, physical team.
You bet.
This team's, I think, fast breaking a little bit more. They're led by a point guard who can really, really score. So it's a little bit different look, but they're still very disciplined. They still, are going to play great defense. They've played a great schedule. So, he's got a team that's going to really compete at a very high level again.
Okay, well, the Marist game certainly set UMass up for that. Let's head down to Mohegan Sun and check the highlights right here behind us. And, nice playing in that place. UMass has had pretty good success there.
It is a great place to play, an incredible arena, and we've enjoyed being there. We got off to a pretty slow start, offensively especially. Gary Forbes was really our only offensive threat, and he got in foul trouble for most of the basketball game.
Yeah, you guys had to fight through that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was an ugly, ugly win. But sometimes you got to win ugly.
No doubt,
and that's fine to do because Etienne Brower's in foul trouble most of the night. Gary Forbes is in foul trouble.
And you got to give Marist some credit. They force that. They're a good team.
They're a very good basketball team, a team that's won a lot of really good games this year. Again, another team that's picked to win their league. But you see them getting out on the break. Things. They play a very stingy defense, which never allowed us to really get out on the break as much as we'd like.
Kind of a tale of two halves. They were played very well in the first half. I think they out-rebounded you guys. And, again, they're kind of doing their thing right there. And then you guys made the adjustments and had a pretty good second half.
Well, in the second half, we finally started picking up the pace you see here, which was a big shot by Gary there. And we went to one of our half-court traps, and it was what really fueled the victory for us. It was the first time all year long that our defense was the cause of our victory because offensively we just didn't have it going. It was not a night where the three-point shots were falling. We had guys, in foul trouble. We weren't making free throws. Just things weren't going our way. But our defense picked us up, and that's something that we need to do. And we rebounded the ball. We out-rebounded them
in the second
by
half.
Several in the second half, which was a key for us. So, how we won the game, I'm very excited about because we needed to win a game with our defense and with our rebounding. Chris Lowe had, one of his best games of his career at UMass as far as 23 points, 6 assists, and no turnovers.
Yeah, can you talk about Chris, Coach? Because he was slowed with an injury in the beginning of the year, and now all of a sudden it seems like you get him healthy, and here he comes.
Yeah, he's been both ankles have been injured this year, and he's kind of been slow for him. But last night, we never go into a game wanting Chris Lowe to lead us in scoring. That's not something he wants to do or we need him to do. But this game called for it, and I think that shows a lot of maturity on his part to understand. All right, now tonight I might have to pick up a little bit of the scoring.
Nice big block there by Gaffney.
Yeah, Tony really was great behind our defense. First time all year long that we've really had a defensive presence very similar to the way Lasme was for us last year. Tony Gaffney had 5 blocks, which was they were all very, very crucial blocks for us.
All right, you see CeeLo, 23.6 assists. As coach said, no turnovers. Ricky Harris and Gary Forbes both at 18, Brower with 13, and Milligan with 7. So you spread the scoring around, and really, coach, I guess that's what you want to do.
No, it is what we want to do. But when you look at those stats a little bit, I knew Chris Lowe was playing well, but you look at Gary Forbes, who felt like he was sitting beside me the whole night, and he ends up with 18 points, 11 rebounds. Ricky Harris, who I thought had an off night, and you look at the stat sheet at the end of the game, he has 18 points.
Doesn't always tell the story.
It doesn't always tell. You're exactly right. These guys can score points very, very quickly. It was just a game where things didn't seem to go our way, but finally, our style of play, I think Marist got a little bit fatigued at the end of the game.
You've talked about that before.
Yeah, and that played a role in it. And I think the defensive work that we did earlier in the week, as far as not necessarily the execution of the defense, but the focus on defense, carried over to the game. It was a lot different than that IUPUI game, the effort that we had then. So I think all that work paid off a little bit.
So good hard win against a pretty good team kind of set the tone for what will be a 2-game week for you here.
Yeah, this is more of a typical week where you have 2 games, Wednesday, Saturday games. Then we go into finals, which is always a busy time.
Sure.
But, these are 2 very tough games. Again, we're on the road again against a very good BC team, which we talked about earlier. And then we come back home against Toledo, which we're excited going to be finally back in the Mohegan Center. Back in the Mohegan Center against a Toledo team that won their league last year. I think they might have even made the NCAA tournament last year, or the NIT, or one of the postseasons. So this is a very good, challenging week for us.
Okay, well, we'll talk more about that as the show continues, certainly. But when Coach and I come back, we're going to look at the play of the week and an up-close look with UMass's big man. He's kind of a media man. He's got his own blog, after all. Luke Bonner and the rest of the UMass program coming up next. Stick around. And welcome back to the UMass Basketball Show, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Time for our Big Y World Class Markets Play of the Week. Obviously, it came in the second half because that's when you guys played pretty well.
Wasn't many highlights in the first half. It's pretty slow on both teams. But in the second half, we had quite a few highlights. A lot of big plays. I don't know highlights as far as dunks or anything like that, but as far as big plays that we needed, there were quite a few. But the one we're about to show right now may have been the biggest play of the game for us as far as really getting us going and getting us energized.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at it right behind us. The Big Y World Class Market Play of the Week. Gaffney with the block, and then Gary finishes it up.
One of his 5 blocks, and then Gary up the court to Ricky Harrison, foul and 1. We were up 1 at that point. Now this gives us a little bit of breathing room because he goes and makes his free throw, which puts us up 4. But more than anything, it really just really energized. You see Tony running the court, you see him excited, Ricky's excited. And we needed that. We needed that a little bit because it was just a grinded out game, and to really see a little bit of energy, to see a little bit
that
of
just picks
a lot of the hard work
up.
paying off. Because I kept telling our team in the timeouts and even at halftime, we're working extremely hard. Yeah. The effort is there. We just weren't getting any production out of it. We weren't getting any results out of the hard work. And finally, it paid off. And to have some block shots behind your defense and a physical presence behind your defense makes the world of difference. And that's something we haven't had all year long. And we were used to having that last year. And with Tony Gaffney stepping up, hopefully he can do more of that.
All right, very good. So congratulations to Ricky Harris for our Big Y World Class Market Play of the Week. Now, our Minute with the Minute Man brought to you by Coca-Cola. Luke Bonner, who, boy, he takes up a lot of space, and you really can't miss him on the court, can you, Coach?
No question. Luke is an extreme joy to coach every day. He's a type player every coach looks forward to having on their basketball team. He's a great teammate. Everybody loves him. He's going to give his best effort every single day, no matter what you tell him to do. Where he wasn't playing a lot last year, he was cheering his teammates on. You never saw a difference in attitude, ever, no matter what's going on. And those are the type kids that are going to be successful. He's a young man who's still, he's 7 feet tall, but he's more of a perimeter player. But he's got a better inside game than we probably allow him to use at this point in time. And coming up in the next couple of weeks, we're actually going to work on him scoring more in the post. He's a young man who has just got an incredible personality. He's very affectionate to everybody. He's funny. And he's going to be very successful. I think he's going to have a long, long career in basketball because what he can do at his size, you just can't really teach. And it's so different for other teams to have to guard him. And the way we're playing, I wouldn't say it's made him one-dimensional a little bit as far as just shooting threes, but we've got to start expanding on his talents, and it's going to allow him to play more. So I think his best days are ahead of him.
All right, it's the Coca-Cola Minute with the Minuteman. Luke Bonner is this week's subject. Here's ABC 40's Neil Jaffoon with a closer look.
Hi, I'm Luke Bonner. from the mean streets of Concord, New Hampshire, horse champion of the world, and this is my minute with the Minuteman.
It sounds cliche to say, but UMass's Luke Bonner is not your run-of-the-mill college basketball player.
I want to be ordinary.
He's anything but ordinary. He gave me a sneaker of his, which is about a 19 or 20, and he signed it. So there's nothing ordinary about Luke.
First thing you notice, obviously his size. Standing over 7 feet tall, he's the tallest UMass player. Then he takes the court, and true to form, he's not your typical big man.
His dimension is different than most 7-footers. The thing that separates him, from the normal guy that's going to play in the post is the fact that Luke can step out and make three-pointers. When we played Syracuse, he really got the party started for us early, which fed into the confidence of everybody.
Bonner, a redshirt junior, swapping his blue and gold of West Virginia for the maroon and white following his freshman year.
I think my transfer class, you could say that we had a transfer class, was a unique experience in itself, but we were all here together practicing every day without any chance of even lacing up our shoes on a game day.
Hard to sit, but Bonner's seeing the benefits. UMass's big man averaging about 6 points per game, tallying a career-high 11 points at IUPUI. He's worked for his success, but also has a little help in the genetic department.
Growing up with Matt and Becky was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. I mean, just the way they are, their work ethic and their drive is second to none. I think my sister is probably the hardest working basketball player I've ever witnessed in my life, bar none.
All three of the Bonner children playing basketball at the Division I level. Luke's sister Becky starting her career at Stanford and finishing at Boston University, and older brother Matt a star at Florida and now a member of the world champion San Antonio Spurs.
If my brother and my sister can get there, then I can too, and so that definitely served as a motivating factor.
As you can imagine, with 3 all-star athletes in one family, things tend to get a little cutthroat.
Everything in our household is pretty much like do or die competitive. My brother got a ping pong table this past summer, or 2 summers ago, and we would be in there for like 3 hours at a time, breaking the sweatshirts off, just whoever playing the best out of 21 series, just back and forth, and it's pretty intense.
In the end, the Bonners are all about enjoying the moment, especially when they're taking in the NBA Finals.
Sitting there with Eva Longoria and Terrence Howard is over there. It's just funny seeing my dad was down for one game, Big Dave's the big Concord mailman, your typical New England guy, with that thick accent. He's coming down asking us if we've tried certain foods, look, this shrimp's incredible, man, I tell you, Eva, stuff like that. And it's just funny seeing my dad interact with people like that, and it's definitely fun.
For all the perks, and there are plenty.
He definitely passes down some gear, every time we go down. I get a few sweatsuits, I try to hook some of my friends up.
The Bonner brothers use Matt's celebrity status to give back by hosting Sneakers and Speakers, a charity rock concert in their hometown.
With that success comes responsibility. We're just trying to make money for the Boys and Girls Club because that's where we grew up, in the after-school program there, and it's an unbelievable cause.
A fan of indie rock, reading, and pursuing a graduate degree in the sports management program, Luke Bonner, striving for anything but ordinary, and as Coach Maloney likes to say, the #1 lunatic in his family. Neil Jaffoon with this week's Minute with the Minuteman.
Coach, can you imagine Luke Bonner and Eva Longoria there, in the up on Meteor Row there?
That's not a pretty picture.
I'm surprised the Earth didn't just stop spinning at that point.
Absolutely. But Luke mentions the work ethic of his sister Becky and Matt. But I can't imagine anybody outworking Luke. His work ethic, as he said, is second to none. Through individual instruction, practice every day, he always comes mentally prepared. He never has good, bad days as far as what we've witnessed. I can't say there's not days he doesn't feel like being there, but he doesn't let it show, and that shows true character on his part. And again, his best days are ahead of him. He's going to continue to just get better and better, and he's just a joy to coach every day. He's a true asset to our basketball program, to our university.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, with some competitive family too. That's you learn it early.
Absolutely, they are very competitive.
Got to get to the dinner table quickly. Well, talk about hard work. That's what we're going to talk about when we come back. Coach's Corner is straight ahead. Ask Coach Ford. All that and a lot more when the UMass Basketball Show, brought to you by Coca-Cola, rolls on. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the UMass Basketball Show, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Time for the Yale Genton Coach's Corner. And like I said, Coach, with week-long periods between these games, you guys certainly have had a lot of time to practice.
Absolutely. We focused, 80% probably on defense, which has been totally different than everything we've done the past 3 months. Usually we spend probably 65 to 70% of our practices working on our offense because it's changed so much from last year. We're a team that likes to change defenses a lot. We probably have 5 different presses, 3 different half-court defenses, and in every game we've played this year, we've played all of them just about. So we're a team that's really, and you got to work on that in practice, which has been good for us these times we've had, is to really work on not just how we're going to guard, but work on changing them within
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it and take us through it again. You're going to be out there. You're going to be just working the guys really hard.
Yeah, this was a segment where we're working on our half-court defense. See guys challenging shots, guys blocking out, and we spent more time this week working on our half-court defense. Even though we like to play for 94 feet, we really focused on the half-court part of it because that's where we were getting exposed a little bit. But here you see a series where we're working on our press, where we're looking to trap the ball. You see Chris Lowe is on the ball, and there's nobody better in the country at it. And you see Tony Gaffney, who's, as we say, trying to chase the ball down and recover back to his man. One thing we've not been doing, and we worked on this week, is the second, third line of defense has been getting beat early in the season. And we need to do a better job of guys not getting beat by the ball. Yeah,
I'm always curious about how the average fan watches a full court press, and they think that they're just out there just playing hard and just trying to stop the guy from getting over the half court line. But there's a lot going on.
Oh, there's a lot. There's so many different rotations, and everybody has to be on the same page. Pressing is not an easy thing to do, and that's why not a lot of people do it. It takes all 5 guys reacting to each other. It's just not full court pressure and everybody just guard their man. Everybody's got to react off each other, and you've got to practice it.
How about the discipline to stay in it so it doesn't break down?
That's the key, and we're working on it right here. This is a drill. We're working on our press and our trapping. It's 3-on-3 full court trapping, which is very difficult because 3 guys got to cover a huge amount of court. But it takes discipline. It takes commitment. We even asked our team in the middle of the week last week. I stopped them. I said, I want to play fast. I want to press for 94 feet for 40 minutes. All the coaches do. But that doesn't matter if you don't want to do it. If you as the players do not want to do it, my playing days are over with. So I proposed to them, and I even told them I'd come back tomorrow and tell me, do you want to press? Are you willing to make the sacrifice and the commitment to do it? Because it's not easy. It's not easy. And then they came back unified the next day, all of them together. Yes, this is how we need to play. We want to play this way, and it is a fun way to play. But it takes a huge amount of commitment to do it because, we're in condition to do it, but you've got to condition your mind that as soon as the ball goes through the net, you've got to run and find your man. What was happening early in the season, they knew we were supposed to be pressing. First 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, we're great at it, and our full court pressure becomes 3/4 court. 5 minutes later, it becomes half court. And the guys they weren't understanding the mentality we wanted to play with. And as we've been stressing lately as well, our identity. What is your identity? Are you a team that's going to press sometimes, or you're a team that is going to start off pressing hard and then you relax, or are you going to develop an identity where people fear you for 40 minutes? And that's how we want to play.
All right, well, how about ask Coach Ford to talk about the big win over Marist? This, of course, is brought to you by UMass Catering. Steve from Marist checks in. How important will the win over Marist be heading into the BC game at Chestnut Hill? I would imagine pretty important.
It's very important. It was important, just a big win over Marist, period, just to get that victory against a good basketball team. But how we did it, I thought was good for our team. We finally had to rely on our defense to win. Our defense fueled everything we did offensively. Whereas in the past, whether it be the Syracuse game or any other game, it was just offense, our offense. And that's probably going to be that most nights. But if you can have great offense, which can come and go at any time, but you have a defense that you can always rely on, then you can win a lot of games. And if we can just get that defensive component, that mindset, because we have the ability to do it. If we can get that mindset, which we saw a little bit of last night because things weren't going our way, but we stuck with our defense, we can win some games.
Okay, well, speaking of, no time like the present to start doing that. The look ahead is coming up next in the show. And again, hey, it's all about Boston College, and basketball fans here in New England know all about the Eagles. Travis and I will be right back. Stick around. And welcome back to the UMass Basketball Show, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Time for the UMassathletics.com. We've only been doing this show.
That's a long word to say, though. That is. It's difficult to say.
It is. But the look ahead, and it's Boston College, Coach, and you know they've got such a great program, and the rivalry between the two schools. We're really glad that they started it back up again. It's been going for a while now, and it's really what college basketball is all about. It
is, and I've enjoyed the. I don't know how much a rivalry it's been because they've kind of gotten the best of us the past 8 to 10 years. I can't remember the last time UMass has beaten Boston College. We proposed that to our team last night. You know, it's been a while, a long time. But we have a great relationship. It's almost like a gentleman's agreement. We know we're going to play each other here. Right. It's not a question of, are we going to play each other or how we're going to do it or how long's the contract. There's none of that. It's just a great relationship between us and Boston College. And there's not been too many basketball programs in America that has had the success that they've had in the past 6-7 years. Right. I mean, they've had teams in the past 3 or 4 years that have been ranked #1 in America.
They're just a quality program,
they're a very quality program, and he does a great job recruiting and developing his players, and they play a good style of basketball, and it's a challenging game for us. Obviously, with we haven't had a lot of success against these guys, and hopefully it can change.
All right, we'll take a little bit of look at how Boston College plays, and Al Skinner's there, and BC beat UMass, as Travis alluded to, last year by 11. And like I said, Coach, usually from top to bottom, they got good kids, good athletes, and they know how to play basketball.
They do. Coach Skinner does a good job of developing his players. You'll see kids who come in as freshmen who are okay, and they get a little bit better. And by the time they're seniors, they're really playing great basketball. Maybe kids that weren't top 50 players in America, even though they have those type players. But they're a team that usually doesn't make a lot of mistakes. They're going to bang you and run what they call the flex offense a lot. This year's team, again, can shoot it extremely well. But they're a team that's just very, very disciplined, and they understand their strengths, and they just try to play away from their weaknesses. That's something that, since the past 2 years following and watching Boston College, obviously a lot more than I have in the past, I've come to really appreciate and respect the job that Al Skinner there does. He just does an incredible job of coaching his basketball teams.
All right, Wednesday night on the road against Boston College, against 6-1 in the ACC. Like Travis says, it goes without saying. They play UMass on Wednesday, and then you've got a game finally at home on Saturday, finally at the Mullins Center against Toledo.
Yeah, it'd be good to finally get back home, but as we've been talking about, we've got a very tough game in between, and it'll be a packed arena. I think it always is when we get together, and I think a lot of people are anticipating this basketball game.
I would think.
Yeah, I think they are. I don't think there's any question that this is a game that it's going to be a very exciting basketball game. So we'll see. We got 2 days to prepare for Boston College, and we're anxious to get back on the court.
Okay, we're anxious to see you guys back on the court, and especially play the game on Saturday at home.
Absolutely. And Toledo's going to be a very, very tough opponent. Very tough opponent, but we're just excited to be back home and play in front of our fans.
All right, congratulations on the win over Marist.
Very, very well earned. It's a game we definitely earned, and it was good to win it with our defense.
All right, very good. And 2 games coming up this week. Thanks a lot for joining us this week on the UMass Basketball Show, edging toward the holidays, and again, BC on Wednesday, so that'll be a good one to check out you and I next Sunday night.
Absolutely.
All right, have a great week, everybody.